Hey guys, so happy new year. This is actually the first video that I'm filming in the new year, and the video that I posted yesterday, if this is coming out today, who knows. This video I posted anyway, that was the first video of the year. I actually filmed that one like 2 weeks ago. So life's been lifing. I hope everyone's new year is good, but if it's not, like, who actually cares? I know some people are like, get to the point, we're not here for you. It's like, just skip, please, just skip like 2 minutes and I'll get there. But if your new year hasn't been like, you know how everyone has this idea that like the new year has to start with a bang and everything has to be like perfect and you have to like get to the gym and like do, it's like, it doesn't actually mean anything. You know, what's the difference between the 31st of December and the 1st of Jan? Nothing. The same 24 hours as between the 30th and the 31st, and the same 24 hours as between the 1st of June and the 2nd of June. So if you feel like you got to the 1st of Jan and nothing changed, because like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, the calendar doesn't change your behavior. Why do I sound like a motivational speaker right now? The calendar doesn't change your behavior, and if you want things to change, they can change literally at any time. And I think people give themselves these weird, arbitrary like rules of when things are going to change, and it's usually like, oh, on the 1st of Jan, I'll do this and this, and they don't do any movement until then, eat like crap, blah, 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 because they think, well, from the 1st, I'm going to be really, really good. So until then, I get to just like do whatever I want and blah, blah. What if you just say to yourself, I'm going to give myself a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm just going to get up. Like if it's the 1st of Feb or the 50th of, the 50th isn't actually a day, the 15th of June or the 28th of August, you know, like what does it actually matter? You can just say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to get myself a gym membership, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to, I don't know, have a nice meal. I'm going to get up and make myself some good nutritious food instead of, I don't know, forgetting to eat. You know, like just do nice stuff for yourself, not because there's a new year or not because the calendar says so, but because you say so and because you feel better when you do it. So I started off this year really negative, and that's why I haven't posted like at all. You know, it's bad when a YouTuber doesn't post in December because the CPM was, but you know you're mentally in a bad spot like a YouTuber is when they don't post in December, because it's like, wow, you really decided to skip on the best month of the year. You must really be down bad. And I was really down bad, and I think sometimes we just have to like, there's always some things you can play the victim about. I'm not trying to do that whole like, don't be a victim, like that's not me. I'm not like a pull yourself by the bootstraps kind of person, but I'm just saying like, there are definitely things that were within my control that I was just kind of being a bit of a wussy about. I thought from the new year I'm gonna like approach things differently, and the calendar, you know, the clock struck on midnight and nothing changed because I didn't change. And so I think I just need to take proactive steps to be different. And so if you feel like you're having a pretty new year, because that's the comments I've been getting in my last video, was people's new year people's new year has been kind of, you know, mid, but you can make it unmid. No, some things you can't control, and that's where I want to be like, I'm not a pull yourself up by the bootstrap, because if your life's really like kicking your ass cheeks right now, that's fine, just sit in that and get through it. But if there are things that you can control, just do it, even if it's the, what is it today, the 4th of Jan, like 4th of Jan, who just does something new on the 4th of Jan? You can do it on the 4th of Jan or whenever you're watching this, because the new year doesn't signify anything. The 1st of Jan is gone, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that suddenly you don't get to like improve because the 1st of Jan is gone. You're still in the first week of the new year. You can still, you know, you still have like 51 weeks to go. So let's just all, there are like things that you can't change and they're out of your control, and that sucks always. But then like there are definitely things within your control, even if they're tiny things, like getting out of bed and not going on your phone straight away, or something stupid like that will make you feel like you're in control of your day from minute 1 of opening your eyes. And that might help bring a little bit of something into your day. I don't know, now I'm just rambling, and I feel like people might take that the wrong way, and that my whole spiel about like, you know, some people might take this the wrong way, like I'm just basically being like, everyone controls it. No, like there are definitely things out of your control, but the small things you can have in your control, try and have them. And that might make us all feel a little bit better. Who knows? Today's video is actually very kindly sponsored by Incogni, who are a new sponsor of this channel and will be of great help to you guys. So you can go on incogni.com/Angelika Oles and get 60% off, which is an exclusive offer just for you guys. So that's incogni.com/Angelika Oles, or click the link in description so you can take your personal data off the market. So thousands of companies are collecting, aggregating, and trading your personal data, and that's without you knowing anything about it, which is actually the scary part. And you actually have the right, I don't know if you guys knew that, to request that the data brokers remove all this information and in turn protect your privacy. But actually the bad news in this case is that it would take you years to contact every single one of these data brokers and protect your privacy. Incogni will actually reach out to these brokers on your behalf and do all that messy work for you. They will request personal data removals and argue with the data brokers basically not wanting to do that. Companies will most often hold things like your full name, your email, your home address, which is actually really scary, your gender, your phone number, kind of education you have, your IP information, which is once again really scary, and your relatives you have, employment history, and one that is probably affecting you guys and me the most, your shopping history, which is why they're able to target you with things very easily. So like I said, you guys can go on incogni.com/Oles or click the link in description. You will get 60% off this incredible product. I stand firmly behind Incogni. I am so pro privacy on the internet, or as much privacy as you can have. And the stuff that companies have about us out there is terrifying. So like I said, click the link in description, get your 60% off and get your private data away from these companies. And now let's get back into the tea. Today was all about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. I filmed a video in December about the lawsuit that you guys just saw, and so I'm deciding to split this up into two separate parts. Today is the kind of part 2 where Justin Baldoni is hitting back on anything that Blake Lively said in her lawsuit. So I'm gonna link that one in the description. So I have the video that you guys just saw, hopefully, and if you didn't, it'll be in the description, of Blake Lively's lawsuit against Justin Baldoni and the production company that he co-owns that produced It Ends With Us, and the kind of behavior on set. She alleges harassment, she alleges retaliation. He paid for a publicist to destroy her life, and she even included some text conversations between the publicists themselves and between the publicist and Justin Baldoni, talking about kind of the hate train that they want to put out on the internet against Blake Lively. And now he is hitting back, but before he has hit back, a few things happened. So since I filmed my video, Justin Baldoni was actually sued by his former publicist. This is in Variety. So Justin Baldoni sued by former publicist amid Blake Lively scandal, and this was on the December 24th. I was actually with my family in London, so I didn't film that, my bad. Justin Baldoni's former publicist sued him, his company, and his current publicity team on Tuesday amid a spiraling scandal over an alleged smear campaign against Baldoni's It Ends With Us co-star Blake Lively. Steph Jones, who owns Jones Works, accused Baldoni of breaching their contract, which required him to pay her $25,000 per month. Baldoni dropped the firm in August, a few months into a year-long deal, after his Jones Work publicist Jennifer Abel left the company to start her own publicity firm. So what happened is, Jennifer is the one that we saw in some of the text conversations between her and Melissa, or her and Justin. And apparently she left Jones Works, but he had joined Jones Works before she left. And so he signed onto this year-long deal, and then the moment she left, he was like, oh, I'm just going to stop paying you guys and I'm going to go work with her. But you're not allowed to like just snatch clients like that don't belong to you, because he signed with Jones Works. He didn't sign with Jennifer. So Jones is also, on top of suing Justin Baldoni, is also suing Abel, which is obviously Jennifer, and Melissa Nathan, accusing them both of implementing a smear campaign against Lively behind her back without her knowledge. She alleges that they are now trying to blame her for the ensuing meltdown. To this day, Abel and Nathan continue to point the finger falsely at Jones now that their own misconduct is coming to light, and to defame and attack Jones in the industry. So yeah, Lively obviously filed the complaint on Saturday with the California Civil Rights Department, accusing Baldoni and his publicist of orchestrating negative coverage about her in retaliation for her complaints of sexual harassment on set. And the sexual harassment was deep. Obviously, there's not like any proof for it. I have to say that because it's all like alleged, but there's no proof for it. But there was proof for the retaliation. And then it's kind of like, if you just link the stories together, why would there be retaliation? Like, what would the retaliation be about, if that makes sense? Like, if that didn't exist. But it could just be that she was, like, a mess on set and he was trying to, like, work, and then she threatened him, and then maybe he was, like, retaliating based on that. But basically, people are saying that they believed Blake because why else would he be retaliating? That was kind of the general consensus. So Abel, Nathan, and Baldoni are represented by attorney Brian Friedman, and on Monday, Friedman threatened to sue Jones for releasing the contents of Abel's phone to Lively's legal team. And that's how Lively had the text, because usually if you subpoena for them, you'll get them in a different format. Like, they've been kind of like rewritten by like someone that works for the law firm. They'll be in a different format, where she had like actual screenshots of the conversation, which makes sense that Jones would have screenshotted those or like had them, because obviously Justin was still her client when all of this was happening, so she was probably in on the conversations. And she then released those to Blake Lively once she kind of realized that she was being screwed over as well, right? Which makes this whole thing that much more juicy, I guess. Friedman, Abel, and Nathan did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Jones' suit. In her lawsuit, Jones relates that she forensically preserved Abel's company phone after Abel was fired. Obviously, it is your work phone as well, so it's not really like your private correspondence, if that makes sense. Like your boss has the right to your work phone and the contents of it. They don't have the right to like your private phone. So Abel and Nathan's covert, takedown, and smear campaigns were revealed in black and white on Abel's company-issued phone following her termination, which Jones' work forensically preserved and examined in detail after receiving a subpoena for the phone's contents. Jones' suit states, Jones discovered the breadth and intensity of Abel and Nathan's duplicity from these records, including that Abel was actively encouraging other Jones' Works clients and employees to leave Jones' Works while Abel was still employed there. So obviously everyone's in a mess right now. Like, who would have thought that this would all happen because of the Ends With Us movie? Like, not me. Apparently they conspired for months to leave her company and to steal her clients and trash her reputation in the industry. She accuses Nathan of encouraging Abel to leave because Nathan would then have greater access to those clients. The scheme ultimately inflicted serious damage on Jones, and Jones Works, the company, states the lawsuit, which was filed in state court in New York. Among other things, the suit alleges that Abel and Nathan planted negative stories about Jones in the press, including an article in Business Insider that was published last summer. The suit alleges breach of contract, tortious interference with contract, breach of fiduciary duty, and defamation. I haven't heard those words since I was about 21 and doing a law degree. So if I'm a bit rusty, that's why. He also had his award taken away. He got this award for Voices of Solidarity, which is so ironic with this whole story. It's basically an award given to men that are like allies to women, right? Like the biggest ally of women a year, which it's almost like at this point it's like a red flag if you get that award more than if you don't. And how sad is that? That like you can't trust the guys that are like really misogynistic, and then you can't trust the guys that are super like anti-misogynistic because they might also be secretly misogynistic. So like, who do you trust? Are there like normal guys somewhere in between? Is that what's going on? Anyway, Pop Crave, Justin Baldoni's Voices of Solidarity Award, which honoured men who have advocated for women, has been rescinded following Blake Lively's lawsuit. And they obviously put out this statement that says, the Voices of Solidarity Award honours remarkable men who have shown courage and compassion in advocating on behalf of women and girls. On December 9th, 2024, we recognised Justin Baldoni with this award. It was such like a close, like tight time gap as well. Like he was given the award and then it just went down the On Saturday, December 21st, we learned through news reports about a lawsuit brought by Blake Lively against Mr. Baldoni, his publicist, and others that is disturbing and alleges abhorrent conduct. The communications among Mr. Baldoni and his publicist included in the lawsuit and the PR efforts they indicate are alone contrary to the values of vital voices and the spirit of the award. We have notified Mr. Baldoni that we have rescinded this award. He was also then dropped by his talent agency. So this happened 23rd of December. Why are there so many ads? There's an ad for the movie. Well, that's iconic. Ironic. I didn't mean iconic, I meant ironic. This is ironic. He's reportedly been dropped by his management hours after the lawsuit. So he was represented by WME agency, who parted ways with the actor following Lively's lawsuit, per The Hollywood Reporter. And Lively is actually also owned by WME along with her husband Ryan Reynolds. So that obviously is a bit of a tricky one. And that actually he does talk about that with the current lawsuit. Anyway, so he's now suing the New York Times for $250 million. But you can read it on Business Insider. So this is the lawsuit that we have. So he's taking legal action against the New York Times after the paper reported about his co-star Blake Lively's allegations of misconduct against him. The lawsuit filed Tuesday in the LA Superior Court named Baldoni, his publicists Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel, and the Ends With Us producers Jamie Heath and Steve Sarowitz as plaintiffs. And the lawsuit obtained by Business Insider accuses the Times of relying almost entirely on what it described as Lively's unverified and self-serving narrative, and that they disregarded an abundance of evidence that contradicted her claims and exposed her true motives. So they obviously have some screenshots down below that contradicted the Times reporting, and he is suffering damages that amount to $250 million? Really? Maybe I just don't know how much people are making. Maybe that's what's actually happening. In a statement provided to Business Insider, a Times spokesperson said the outlet stood by the reporting and would vigorously defend against the lawsuit. Our story is meticulously and responsibly reported. It was based on a review of thousands of pages of original documents, including the text messages and emails that we quote accurately and at length in the article. That's why they released the article, but then they also released just the lawsuit that you can read. The spokesperson also said the paper published Baldoni's full response statement to its story and said he and other subjects have not pointed to a single error in its reporting. Lawyers for Lively said in a statement provided to Business Insider, nothing in the lawsuit changes anything about the claims advanced in Miss Lively's California Civil Rights Department complaint, nor her federal complaint filed earlier today. So she's actually filing a federal complaint as well. In the federal suit, also reviewed by Business Insider, named Baldoni and members of his PR team, it was based on the California Civil Rights complaint and accused Baldoni and others of orchestrating a campaign to retaliate against her for speaking up about what she said was sexual conduct. The lawyers also said they encourage everyone to read Lively's full lawsuit, which is embedded below. Representatives for Baldoni did not address Lively's lawsuit directly when reached by Business Insider. Now, Brian Friedman, who's obviously the lawyer for Baldoni and the other plaintiffs suing the Times, they said that in a statement that Lively and her team had orchestrated a vicious smear campaign against his clients, and that the Times had cowered to the wants and whims of two powerful, untouchable Hollywood elites, meaning Blake and Ryan Reynolds. And obviously it was the bombshell story, we can bury anyone inside a Hollywood smear machine, which was based on the lawsuit. So anyway, this is the Baldoni lawsuit against the Times. He's doing libel, false light invasion of privacy, promissory fraud, and breach of implied in fact contract. Apparently Baldoni consistently expressed his desire to avoid harming Lively and protect the film, but also recognized a legitimate need for public relations protection in light of Lively's false and damaging claims. So Melissa said, "Good morning, sharing with you a perfect example of why we don't use bots. I wouldn't even worry to think they hired an awful team which I've sent to our guy to track and pull, so we have evidence of it. This below should answer everyone's questions on what a bot team looks like and what every single comment suddenly skews in her favor in a nonsensical way." So apparently she was using bots against him. How can we say something that we are not doing any of this? It looks like we're trying to take her down. It doesn't. They are doing all of this themselves, and it's really obvious this is bots. Okay, please monitor. Things I'm more worried about is that we are planting these stories, which is not true, obviously. And then Jen said, chiming in here, the people saying that there are bots and this is a PR play on our side is a minority voice compared to the thousands and thousands who are calling it what it is and reacting to Blake Lively's own actions and interviews. People did kind of talk about that, like, people suddenly just swept everything under the rug, and it's like, you know what's that saying about, like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater? You can say that Blake's interviews weren't great and her marketing of the movie wasn't great, and she could have put her foot down on that, and her treatment of people wasn't great, and some things that she has done in her career aren't great. And then you can also acknowledge that maybe it is true what she is saying in her lawsuit, right? So you can kind of have that duality. But what they're saying is, like, people are reacting to stuff that Blake has said and done herself, and not just the smear campaign that they have started. But we as an audience don't quite understand where the smear campaign starts and ends. So it's hard for us to say how much of that was real and how much of that was the smear campaign. We never want the action of the minority to dictate what we do on our end. We have to always look at the big picture, which is still enormously on your side. But I do see a want and need from the fans to move on. People are now commenting that they are bored with the many articles still coming out about this drama. When we move on, they do too. So we need to find ways to keep elevating not just the DV reaction, but also the other things in your life, like family, being back home, and Wayfarer. That's not tone deaf, in my opinion, but sends a message that you are focusing on what really matters, and that's what will help with the Blake narrative too. My POV. Obviously a group chat between them. Oh my god, why is this website so funky? So it ends with us, Sony chief praises Blake Lively for advancing the conversation around domestic violence. They messaged me 5 minutes before this went up. So this is obviously a Hollywood Reporter article. And then there's one sent in. Exclusive, Blake Lively was really impatient on Ends With Us set as drama rumors swell. Tension was so obvious. So glad Blake was praised. Let her get a win. It would be nice to have a Sony executive praise Justin, which is what Jamie said. So they're saying, like, good for Blake. Would be nice if they also praised Justin. Could Blake Lively be cancelled? And now they're showing also how they would pick and choose which bits of conversations they would show in the lawsuit. So they included these 3 conversations, but then they, like, didn't include any of this. So could Blake Lively be cancelled? Wow, you really outdid yourself with this piece. And it's got like an upside down smiley, which they apparently didn't include. So it was supposed to be kind of like a sarcastic, oh, you really outdid yourself with that one, meaning like you didn't do this, but it looks to people like you did. So they included all of these except for the emoji, but then they didn't include this. Heading to the airport and there is a drive through the jungle that there's going to be no reception for around 24 hours. Joke, 45 minutes. I'm sorry, you being offline for 45 minutes was not included in the scope. Unacceptable. So it's obviously all like a joke, right? She said, damn, this is unfair because it's also not me. Everything now looks like it's me. Maybe not to you. No, it totally does look like his side. Cool, thanks. And then they also included this, but then they excluded all of this, which is saying like we didn't plant that story, but it makes it look like we did because we are now like working for him. And so they showed kind of like how this was shown in her lawsuit versus how it actually played out, right? Which is like, we can just, but at this point we're like taking everyone's word for it, you know, until this actually finishes, we just don't know what to believe. So we have reporter says Blake Lively's little bump taunt felt like a bullet. Reporter says Blake Lively, blah, blah. And then TMZ, I guess, says LMO, we interview her too. Let me find that interview for her. And Melissa says, when lol. Also, what the why am I in this too? You're a starlet this week. How was the stunt? So we have, we didn't tell Jed to go after the idea that her promo was inappropriate. That happened organically because people saw the actual movie and were like, wait, this is a movie about domestic violence, that they wore florals too. So he sent me this on Saturday, goes, this is a crazy way to market this movie. So what they're saying is like a lot of the hate that she was receiving was pretty organic from people just saying like, why would you say grab your girlfriend and wear your florals if it's a movie about DV? And so they're saying a lot of the hate against Blake wasn't retaliation. It was just like, yeah, they did some planting of stories, definitely, but then people are also just upset about the way she was marketing the movie. And which is what I'm saying about, like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, you're allowed to be upset at Blake for marketing the movie in a certain way, while also saying he could have done these things, and if he did, then he needs to be punished for it. Then we have this is not as correct, assuming the guy we brought in would never do this. And that's Justin Baldoni saying that about kind of the TikToks. And this is Paris Hilton's TikTok. So he's saying, like, we didn't do that, right? And then Melissa says, none of us would ever do this. Also, no one even pays any attention to this person past 2005. He's not relevant. He does not create a news headline. He does not get picked up. He's just now a troll. There is not one outlet. I agree with her on that. There's not one outlet that would cover anything he said or take it seriously. I think as well, there's the struggle where it's kind of maybe even unbelievable the way that people are turning against her, but they are organically. It's organic. She's blown herself up by her own actions. So that's the story they're sticking with. It's like, she did this to herself, and now she wants to sue us as a way to flip it, when it's actually just her actions that people are upset about more than anything. And we have the Daily Mail unearthed Blake Lively interview shows her use slur for trans people. I didn't actually see that story. That's how many stories were coming out. This just ran. Obviously, none of us knew about this either, but once media goes in, they go in. And the best thing we can do right now is be quiet. Let's get through this week together, then just move on and back to regular planning with Instagram posts and thoughtful ideas and messages. The content creators are on fire, and Justin, she has handed it to them all on a plate. Yeah, I guess that's, you know, just concentrate on the success of the movie, your family, and your next project. I have this weird feeling that she's going to reach out to you for a conversation in the next couple of weeks, or he will. And that didn't happen, obviously, because they ended up getting sued. Then we have another one. Blake Lively fearing for her career amid It Ends With Us backlash. God, I'm so over this. I'm sure Leslie thinks we placed this one as well. Yep, and same. So obviously don't have to go through all of this, but he's essentially saying, like, you skipped a lot of the context. And what he's also saying, I guess, is Jones, who's the original company owner, said that she forensically had, like, saved the whole phone, the work phone. So she had all of these texts, not just the picked out ones. Obviously in the lawsuit, they put in the picked out texts that are out of context or meant to be sarcastic but not read that way in the lawsuit, and now they're showing all the texts that they could have released, which show a much different light. But it is just one person's word against the other. All About TRH said Blake Lively demanded a producer credit and an undeserved PGA mark. She stripped Justin of movie, saying a film by credit. Ryan Reynolds demanded Justin's agent drop him, and Blake demanded that Justin not attend premiere. She said the business relationship was over once he didn't approve of the PGA mark. That's obviously in here. It says, ignoring the director's vision for her character and disregarding the weeks spent by the entire team shopping and thoughtfully crafting her wardrobe in preparation for the film, Lively would send hundreds of images to the film's costume designer during all hours of the evening, pointing them in the direction of the appearance she wanted for her character, which looked awful. The costume designer then had to reshop her wardrobe, far exceeding the allocated budget and diverting time and resources. At one point, Lively insisted that her character had money and could afford $5,000 shoes, which had Baldoni rethinking the entire script that had been worked on for well over a year and had been approved by both studios. I mean, in the book, she definitely didn't have the money for that. That's why she was so impressed by the wealth of Ryle's family. And him being a doctor and stuff. She also refused to participate in wardrobe fittings. Instead, she insisted the costume department pack up the wardrobe department and deliver all her wardrobe items to her. And then we have this that says, Justin Baldoni's full complaint, bombshells. He has never seen the agreement document before and therefore never agreed to Blake's demands. The demands that I talked about, you know, don't make remarks to me, blah, blah. Apparently he never saw that and never agreed to it, even though in the lawsuit she says that she brought that to them as like I will continue to work on this movie after the strike if you agree to this. But he's saying, I've never even seen that document in my life. Texts seemingly supporting a smear campaign are actually texts of PR people discussing/joking that they weren't involved in negative press. No other harassment-related HR complaints were filed by other crew, and there were other points he asked her weight in relation to a scene where he had to pick her up. Blake pushed for a sexy character, her words, and there were texts in there from her to him saying, oh, I think she'd wear this beanie with this crop top, it'll make her look really sexy. And so he's saying she was making a lot of remarks about this character being sexy, so then why would she then be upset about me adding in scenes when she wanted the character to be sexy? I guess is what he's saying allegedly. The nude video was his wife's home birth, again in relation to a scene. Discussion of his sex life was also in relation to a scene, followed Blake's discussing her sex life. And then Blake declined meeting an intimacy coordinator prior to shooting, which you can read in this article, I guess, from Variety again. So she didn't talk to the intimacy coordinator. But then in the interviews, she was saying, oh, no, like, we shouldn't be coordinating the intimacy, we should have one. This is so confusing, and I feel like by next week we'll have a whole different opinion about it again, which is why I'm not even like expressing any opinions anymore. Like, I just think we all just need to wait it out. Apparently Ryan Reynolds went to TMZ tonight to clear his name about obviously the WME situation as well, because Ryan and Blake are signed to this, well, were signed to the same management as Justin Baldoni. So in the lawsuit filed by Justin Baldoni, Justin states that he was blindsided when invited to Ryan and Blake's home and was berated by Ryan for asking how much Blake weighed. Backstory, Justin Baldoni asked his trainer, we know that story. The trainer ran back and told Blake Lively, who told her husband Ryan Reynolds. Ryan invited Justin over and berated Justin for asking in front of multiple celebs. Blake then refused to do the scene, threatening to quit. She threatened to quit multiple times throughout the movie if things didn't go her way. Ryan is now saying he didn't scream, he was just angry. So I ask this, why is Ryan getting involved in his wife's workplace matters? This would have never been accepted in the real world. And then obviously Justin Baldoni's attorney warns of more lawsuits coming. Plaintiffs are not done. His lawsuit says there are other bad actors involved, and make no mistake, this will not be the last lawsuit. And I actually saw this in a Spill Sesh video. She has the clip. So if you guys remember the interviewer that released that interview of Blake Lively, the one that almost made her want to quit her career, it was the little bump one. When Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were kind of going at it in court, an interview with her and Johnny Depp was released that made Johnny Depp look really good and like put him in a really good light. And so people are now linking the way that she maybe gets involved in drama to push her career forward, but she's saying that's not true, so let's actually watch that.
Okay, so I have to say something, because now I see that things are starting to snowball and people start thinking that I had anything to do with the smear campaign against Blake Lively that was orchestrated allegedly by Justin Baldoni and his team. I also read the article in the New York Times this morning. I've been reading through the lawsuit, and I see there's been so much dirty work going on behind the scenes, and I just wanted to say I have nothing to do with it. When I read the text messages that was going back and forth between Justin Baldoni's PR team, I was as shocked and appalled like everyone else, and I would never take part in anything like that. That's such an insult to me, and I really hope that if you have time, check out my video that I just posted on YouTube where I explain things, because I don't want a part of this. I posted a video, I showed how Blake Lively was behaving in my interview, and that's it.
So that's her opinion, I guess, on the situation. But now that everything's been said and done, well, not everything, I feel like more is coming, but for now, everything's been said and done. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, subscribe, hit the bell icon for engagement, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.